When it comes to the RV industry, the RV lifestyle, the RV market, and the RV community, there's a big misconception and mindset that's so catastrophic, it's dragging down the RV consumer base. Welcome to HB RV Lifestyle, the podcast. I'm the host, John Levingston, aka the Honey Badger, here to give it to you straight and transparent about the RV business, as well as some other things. There's a lot of things going on in the world. A lot of stuff in the media that's hyper negative, a lot of stuff in industries, period. You can't get away from it. The car industry, boats, shampoo, conditioner, TVs, Walmart, Target, Kohl's, grocery stores, tariffs. There's just all kinds of crap being thrown our way, and it's just bombarded on. And then it gets pounded on, pounded on, and pounded on, and pounded on. And the biggest reason why is because negative news actually pays people. They say sex sells. Well, in this day and age, being the most negative person on God's green earth actually pays you better. Okay. Now, where this is coming from is I released a podcast episode for the first time on TikTok. So if you're watching on TikTok, hello. And the first 45 seconds of the video was setting up the rest of it to basically give a more middle ground approach to what the RV lifestyle is. But you can tell, looking in the comments section, nobody went past 45 seconds. That's our attention span. About 45 seconds. Now, I'm not saying everybody, but if you look at the comments, half of the comments you could tell the people didn't even watch the full video. They heard the hook because, like a lot of content creators that teach content creators, they always say the first 30 seconds, you got to hook the audience into watching the whole video. Well, you could tell they didn't make it past the hook. You could tell the other half watched at least 50%, if not the entire video. What has happened is we are now in a world of scrolling, waiting for the latest headline to get mad at. So I was watching clips on TikTok. Congratulations, by the way, to Liz Amazing for getting on TikTok. I don't know how long she's been on there, but congratulations to you. Another ad revenue area for you. I'm pretty sure you'll make a lot of money. TikTok, watching one of her videos, she has a clip on there that has only 93 views, and it's a pretty old clip. And it's actually a really good clip. She talks about that the reason why she believes RV quality is bad is because there's no foreign competition. Now, during that clip, I almost wanted to be in front of her and say, you're 50% right when it comes to that. There is foreign competition. But what she was comparing it to was American-made cars versus when the Japanese came over with their car companies. And obviously you have now some Korean car companies as well, Hyundai and Kia. So her belief is that if you brought over somebody like in Japan to build RVs, that quality would shoot up through the roof. Doesn't get a lot of views, but yet that's pretty good insight. It's not correct, but it's very good insight and a very good opinion, and it's a well thought out, well educated guess or hypothesis, I should say, on the situation. Remember, I've never called her stupid. Some of you guys think I think she's stupid. She's not by any means. Okay. So that was a very well thought out comment, and it was a 1 minute and 10-second clip that hardly anybody watched. But if she puts out a video that says Brinkley RV is having frames snap in half, she would get 500,000 views in the first 2 or 3 days of releasing that video. So it's just proof positive that we have the wrong mindset about the RV industry, about the RV lifestyle. It is not for everybody. When we look and take a step back, RV stands for recreational vehicle. A lot of us have turned the lifestyle into a living condition, myself included. But when I got into moving into my Weekend Warrior fifth wheel toy hauler, I understood that using that product 24 hours, 365 days a year is going to take some maintenance. It's going to take some toolkit and sense of humor, because they are not built like a house. They are built for recreational use. The average RV consumer uses their RV, whether it's a travel trailer, a toy hauler, a fifth wheel toy hauler, a motorhome, they use it a total of 15 days a year. That's the average. Whether they buy used, whether they buy new, whether they've had it for 20 years, 2 years, 2 days. The RV consumer does not always live in their RV. If you go through Liz Amazing's videos, I bet you a high percentage of those folks are full-time RVers. I bet you a big percentage of those folks use their rig more than 15 days a year. And I'm not talking about 20 or 25 or 30 days. I'm talking about like they use it half the year. We got a lot of snowbirds that come down from Canada and the northern United States into places like Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Arizona, Nevada, California. They all come down to escape the weather. They don't come down here for 2 weeks. They come down here for 3 or 4 months. So we have to change the mindset of RVs are junk, because RVs are not junk. The folks in Indiana get paid pretty darn well for working on RVs. They're paid on piece rate. And for the most part, the entire community of Elkhart, Middlebury, all those communities in Indiana that build RVs, if the entire RV industry was absolute junk, they wouldn't have a job. If the entire industry was complete garbage, complete trash, nobody would ever buy one. Plain and simple. So even in the day and age of the internet, where we are bombarded from every angle, from every industry, from every niche, we are bombarded with negativity all over social media and the internet. People are still RVing. Why? Because it's the same thing it's been since the industry was created, since the lifestyle was created. Less than 1% of the total population will buy a new RV every single year. It's not the 99%. Now you're going to have folks that buy used. You're going to have folks that build their own. You're going to have folks that convert buses into some sort of RV, do a van conversion of their own. The problem is a lot of us want to make ourselves bigger than what we really are. So instead of being outright saying, I can't afford a new one, we're going to scream and yell that everything's overpriced. This is the same thing in the car market, real estate, TVs, refrigerators, washer, dryer, dishwashers. These are all things that when we can't afford something new, we want to bitch and complain that it's overpriced. I'm guilty of it. I've done it a million times. I've caught myself doing it, where I'll sit there and say, Oh, those houses are built like crap. They're terribly constructed. But the truth is, I can't afford a $700,000 or $800,000 new home. It's a fact of life. Will I ever be able to? Probably not. That's why I joined the full-time RV lifestyle, because more than likely I will never afford, and neither will my kids, and neither will my grandkids, will never be able to afford to buy a house. It's out of reach for most of the world right now. Now, I'm not going to go into why or how, but it's just a fact of life. COVID-19 has basically ruined the American dream when it comes to home ownership. Okay. That all being said, what we can afford and do is adapt. So we have to get rid of this misconception that anything ever built is just going to fall apart instantaneously. We need to get rid of that misconception. And it's not just in the RV industry, it's in any industry with any product we buy or sell. The best example I can give you is the old Nintendo NES from the 1980s. I had one as a kid. That thing was awesome, but it always had problems with the cartridges. So I just yell and scream, these games are junk. Because it kept blowing in the cartridge and smacking in our hands and smacking the Nintendo, trying to plug it in and beating on the remote to get it to work. I mean, come on, if you're my age or older, you understand this. We did the same thing with the Atari, the Super NES, the Sega Genesis. I mean, realistically, we were trying to clean all the CDs and games from the PS2 and the PS1 and GameCube. I mean, if everything was built like junk, if everything was built like shit, then why are we still buying stuff? Nothing's perfect, guys. If anything was built perfectly, if everything was built symmetrically, nobody would be able to afford it. Let's be real. Now, I know a lot of you wish that the RV industry was not accessible to the entire world. I know a lot of you would rather have banks no longer lend, manufacturers shrink down to one or two, and make it so small so you can go enjoy parks and things like that because it's overcrowded and you hate people or you're tired of all the kids screaming and yelling across a park or a campsite. Hey, I get it. Okay? I really do. We just need to come down to some kind of reality. The misconception that interest rates are going to crash, the mindset that if we wait long enough, prices are going to dip and drop. Why do you think that? I mean, this is catastrophic because a lot of you are now asking the question, should I build memories with my family at campsites? My spouse or my significant other has decided that they don't want to sleep in a tent anymore because their back, their knee, their neck. I know that feeling. They want to have access to go to the bathroom without going out in the woods and copping a squat. They want to be able to sit on a toilet, sit on a couch. They want to be able to not worry about the wind blowing away the tent. And we're too worried about being real with ourselves and being real with each other and saying, hey, you know what? I can only afford a $2,500 trailer. My credit's bad. I don't have a lot of money right now. $2,500 is the budget we set. What's wrong with saying that out loud? There's nothing wrong with it. Every time I hear, well, it depends on what it is. Bullshit. It doesn't matter what it is. It matters what you can afford or what you want to afford. If you're embarrassed about your budget, you should not be going to dealership lots looking for used RVs or new ones. You should stick to Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and buy privately. We just want to kind of see what you got. Well, okay, go look at what you got, but why shop for something that you can't afford? Why not shop for stuff you can afford? Dreams are fun to do at shows. It's an adventure to go to a show. I would still go to shows, even if I only could afford the Weekend Warrior fifth wheel toy hauler that I live in. If that's the only thing I could ever afford for the rest of my life, I would still go to shows and dream and check things out and see how things have come along. It's fun. It's adventurous. But let me tell you something. If you got a $500 motorhome and you're standing next to a guy with a $500,000 brand new Newmar diesel pusher, and you're looking out in a sunset, or you're looking out on a lake with a fishing pole, really, what separates the two of you? Nothing. You both are living a moment in time, a memory that you're building. So this mindset needs to go away. Now, the only way that mindset is going to go away is if we stop believing all the AI bullcrap. Only way. And I'm going to do that next week. In fact, this coming week, I'm going to be replaying and exposing all the lies and bullshit that AI channels, faceless AI channels, are spreading. I'm going to expose them for what they really are, which are frauds and wannabe copycats of Liz Amazing. But the problem is that they cannot do one thing that Liz Amazing does well. Liz Amazing does one thing extremely well, and that's when she speaks on things like that clip I was talking about earlier. That comes from someone that has experience and seen what happened in the car industry and is translating an opinion or a hypothesis about what it may do for the RV industry. She's wrong, but I'd rather see someone do that than come out with blatant lies just to get clicks and revenue from YouTube's ad program. Plain and simple. So get rid of the negativity. Ease up and realize that the more equipment we want on a trailer, the more shit we want to put on a fifth wheel, the cheaper the cabinets are going to be, the cheaper the interior materials are going to be for plumbing, because those add weight. To put solar panels, big batteries, inverters, 3 air conditioners, generators, to put all this stuff in, to do overland type of camping and keep it within the weight limit of what most 3/4 ton trucks can do and 1/2 ton trucks can do, which are the most common trucks in America, something's got to give. So I'm sorry they're not real wood. I'm sorry they're not symmetrical. I'm sorry that there are times where really bad shit does happen. It's not a big percentage. It's bigger than what manufacturers want to admit, but it's not as big as the internet wants to make it out to be. Not even close. I've been in the industry a long time, and there are 2 types of technicians. There's technicians trying to sell you and technicians looking for clicks and views. Either way, they're not always 100% accurate. Until next time, remember, RV always stands for toolkit and sense of humor.